Mister, are we
Yes.
gonna make the last assignment that you told us to make?
What do you mean by no? We're going to work on a brand new lesson today, and
So
because
the
I told you just to copy, right? Not to solve
yes.
it. Yeah. So
So
probably we're gonna do that the next week. Yeah.
okay.
So don't worry. All right. So let me go ahead and start sharing my screen.
What page it is, Mister?
I don't really remember. Let me see. I think it is in the document. Hold on one second. You
129.
you should know the sequence, guys. You should know the sequence.
The page 129 or 130?
129.
Because oh, okay. Because I have the 128, and I see that the was the
The
last
last
topic.
thing that we were. Who is drawing this on the screen?
I don't know. I just see your picture.
Let me see. I'm gonna have to remove that. Okay, so we are going to start. This lesson is about the cycles in an ecosystem. Okay, you probably know about the water cycle, but there are many different things that have cycles in nature or in an ecosystem. So this is what we're going to be studying today. And it says, you know what a bicycle is, but what is a carbon dioxide oxygen cycle? No, it is not something you write. It's a pathway that describes how carbon dioxide and oxygen move through an ecosystem. Okay, so that's going to be learning today. Carbon dioxide oxygen cycle. Okay, and I'm going to have someone reading the first part. Let me go ahead and pick on someone over here. I'm going to ask Darling,
Mr.
go ahead and
Miguel,
read the first part, please.
The mode of material that cycles through an ecosystem stays the same. It just keeps moving through the system. The glass bubble in the picture contains producers, such as single-celled organisms, and consumers, including shrimp and snails. Producers use energy from the sun and carbon dioxide from the air inside the glass bubble. Consumers eat the producers and use energy from them to grow. They give off the carbon dioxide that producers need.
Thank you very much, Darling. Okay, I'm going to ask you guys to go ahead and mute your mics
Mister,
while you're not speaking. Yes.
that I didn't hear like in the last meeting. I didn't hear no one reading.
Yeah, that's
And
what.
if you are sharing your screen, I don't know because there's just your picture.
Well, I don't know why you're not able to see the screen because everyone should be able to look at my screen right now because that's what I'm sharing. Okay,
And I just have your picture.
I don't know
It
why.
says
So you should
your
check your
Ecuador.
device. What device are you using right now?
Samsung
I mean,
and
that's a cell
J7.
phone. That's a cell phone.
Mine. Yes.
Well, I don't really know.
My dad phone.
Yeah, I can't tell what is happening in your device, but you should check it. Unfortunately, I don't have access to your cell, so I don't know what's going on. But you
Okay.
still have your book, right?
Yes, I
Oh,
have it in here.
okay, no problem. So at this, look at this glass bubble over here. It says that there are different organisms in there inside, like producers, and there are also consumers. Um, and it says that the producers are using energy from the sun, and they are also using carbon dioxide from the air inside this glass bubble. Consumers are pretty much eating what the producers are producing, of course, so they can grow, and so they give off carbon dioxide that producers need. So it's like a cycle, right? The producers are creating, or using they are producing oxygen, among with sugar, and the consumers, what they do is they go ahead and eat the producers and they get the energy they need, and they are also getting oxygen out of the producers. And in return, what the consumers do is that they go ahead and give of the carbon dioxide the producers need. So that's why we call it a cycle, right? So it's going over and over and over again. So it doesn't have like an ending point. All right. It says the glass bubble is like an ecosystem. Organisms sealed um, inside it might live, I'm sorry, for years without anything being added to the bubble. Everything they need can be used over and over again. This was exactly what I was saying. All right. Um, let me have someone here. All right. Diana, go ahead and read the next part, please.
Okay, Miss. The diagram below shows how organisms use carbon dioxide and oxygen. Recall produced in the rainforest, like other producers, carry out photosynthesis. In photosynthesis, producers use light energy to change carbon dioxide and water into sugar and oxygen. Only producers give off oxygen. Find the producers on the next page. Notice note that the opposite of photosynthesis is respiration. Respiration is the process by which organisms use oxygen and sugar to release energy. During this process, organisms produce carbon dioxide and water. Organisms use the energy to carry out life process. Respiration, which oxygen takes place in almost all organisms, including brothers. Time, all part plants, including roots, stems, branches, use sugar from the leaves. Half of the sugar a plant makes may be used by the plant for respiration. Now find the consumers in the picture on the page. Consumers in the rainforest and in other ecosystems use the oxygen produced by plants to release energy from sugar. In this process, they produce water and carbon dioxide. Plants will use the carbon dioxide to make more sugar.
Thank you very much, Diana. Okay, so we're going to focus on the
You're welcome.
on photosynthesis and also on respiration. Yes, what is it?
I haven't heard Diana again.
Listen, Benjamin, it is very difficult for me to, to control. I mean, it's actually impossible to control what you're doing with your device. So there's no point on you telling me what's going on in your device because there's nothing I can do about it. So even though you're not,
No, that
yeah,
how I will read and that things like.
well, we're supposed to read, what she read is the whole page 130, just so you know. So we are focusing, I don't really know what your device is not showing my screen, because even though you're not able to hear someone, you still can, you still can see
But in the
what that
last
person is
meeting,
reading.
sir,
Mhm.
in the last meeting, sir, I remember that I didn't hear no one, but Maria start to read and I heard it.
Yeah, exactly.
It
But
was
there's
in
no,
another device, but was the same thing.
exactly. But I mean, I can't, spend time giving you like tech support with your device. That those things happen, and you have to, manage that. Yeah, if you're having trouble, you have to find a way to fix that by yourself, because I don't have access to your uh, whatever device you're using. So in this case, if you can, watch my screen, or if you can hear someone, make sure you are reading all the pages that we're going to cover today, from page 129 to page, well, I don't remember what the last page is, the whole lesson, okay? And as long as you can hear me, that's pretty much everything that you need. Okay, so photosynthesis. What is photosynthesis? It's the process of using light energy to change carbon dioxide and water into sugar and oxygen. So which organisms carry out photosynthesis? Who wants to tell me?
Only the produce give.
Yeah, but who are the how do we call the organisms that can carry out photosynthesis? Producers, of course. Producers. Producers use light and energy to change this carbon dioxide and water into sugar and oxygen. And this process is called photosynthesis, right? On the other hand, we have respiration. Respiration is the opposite of photosynthesis. How? Respiration is the process by which organisms use oxygen and sugar to release energy, not to produce energy, okay, but to release energy. That is called respiration. During respiration, what happens during respiration? Again, well, these organisms, which are the consumers, are releasing energy, and during the process, they are producing carbon dioxide, right? And which organisms need carbon dioxide and water? The producer. This is why it is a cycle. Producer use carbon dioxide and water, and they make sugar and oxygen, right? They change this into sugar and oxygen. And then when the consumers, let's say a plant is producing sugar and oxygen by changing the carbon dioxide and water, right? So they need two things, carbon dioxide and water. And what else do they need to change this into oxygen and energy? They need the sunlight, right? So let's say that the plants are going over this process called photosynthesis, but then an animal, a herbivore, comes and eats one of these plants. So what's going to happen? They are going to get the energy and the oxygen that they need from these plants. And once they have gotten this energy, they will go through a process called respiration, which will release the energy that they got from the plants, okay? And during respiration, this animal will produce carbon dioxide and water, which will be used for the plants once and again to produce. I mean, the whole process will go over and over again. The carbon dioxide and the water will be changed into sugar and oxygen, and then the consumers will change the sugar and the oxygen into carbon dioxide and water again, and so on. It's going to be like the same process repeating itself over and over again, okay? So we have something over here on the very bottom of the page, photosynthesis. We have the energy from the sun, we have the carbon dioxide plus water, and that's gonna become sugar and oxygen, right? Then, so this is made by producers. That producers carry out photosynthesis. On the other hand, we have respiration, which is carried out by consumers. So they need the sugar, the producers are making the sugar and oxygen, and they are going to change this into carbon dioxide and water, which is an energy as well. And they are going to give the plants these two elements that they need to go through the photosynthesis or to carry out photosynthesis. So everything is connected, guys. In a cycle, everything is connected. Okay. As you may see in this picture, the carbon dioxide, well, it's representing the carbon dioxide oxygen cycle because they are, both things are related, right? The carbon dioxide and the oxygen. So we have a key over here. I don't know what color this is because I'm colorblind. Who wants to tell me what color? Yes, Miss Mineta? What color is this?
Sorry, mister, I confused doing one thing.
It's orange.
Orange, thank you, Wilmer.
Orange.
So orange is going to be representing the carbon dioxide, and this color is?
Blue.
Blue, so that's gonna be representing the oxygen. So let's look at the top of the page. It says, this tree is a producer. During the photosynthesis, it uses carbon dioxide and water, and produces oxygen. So in this case, the tree is using carbon dioxide to produce oxygen. So this is why you can see the green, the orange thing over there changing into blue, which is going to be the oxygen. And then it says producers don't just carry out photosynthesis, they carry out respiration too. In the process, they use oxygen and produce carbon dioxide. So at the same time that they are producing oxygen, they are also going through respiration and using this oxygen and at the same time producing carbon dioxide, okay? And then we have a howler monkey over here. Well, this a squirrel monkey. What is this? What is this monkey doing? It is eating a part of the tree, right? Part of the bush. It said the squirrel monkey and the bush dog are consumers, and they use oxygen and produce carbon dioxide during respiration. So, whenever this monkey is eating a part of the tree, this monkey is getting the energy, is getting the oxygen, and it is using oxygen to produce carbon dioxide. How? During respiration. And who is or what is going to be using this carbon dioxide later on? The plants, okay? And then we can also see the decomposers on the bottom. It says decomposers such as this mushroom, a fungus, break down the wastes and dead bodies of organisms. The fungus can change the woody parts of the tree into sugar. Then it carries out respiration. It uses oxygen and produces carbon dioxide, right? So you are able to notice, guys, how it is called a cycle. Let me, draw a little bit over here so you have a better understanding. Okay, so you are able to notice how carbon dioxide is changed into oxygen first during photosynthesis. Then oxygen will be changed into carbon dioxide during respiration. That it's very simple. Plants use carbon dioxide and change carbon dioxide into oxygen. Then consumers or animals, and also plants, because plants also carry out respiration. During respiration, this oxygen is changed into carbon dioxide, and the cycle is repeating itself once and again and over again, okay? So it's pretty simple. Let me scroll down to see what's what the next part is. Okay, nitrogen cycle. I'm gonna have Benjamin. Can you please? Well, you can see my screen, but you have your book, right? Benjamin.
Yes, mister.
Okay, can you please go ahead and read nitrogen cycle?
What?
Nitrogen cycle. That's gonna be on page 131.
132.
I'm sorry. Yes, 132.
Oh, I'll read, but there's a vegetable card like
It's no problem.
nitrogen cycle. Another important cycle is that the nitrogen cycle. Nitrogen substance is that essential for life. Is at parts of all proteins and the materials cells use for growth and repair. The amount of nitrogen stays the same, but it is used over and over. The nitrogen in your proteins might have once been part of a dinosaur. Nearly 80% of the air you breathe is nitrogen gas. However, most organisms cannot use this form of nitrogen. They need nitrogen compounds. Lightning can cause nitrogen gas in the air combined with other substances form nitrogen compounds. Rain washes the compounds into the ground where plants can use them. Some kinds of bacteria can also change nitrogen gas into nitrogen compounds. Some of these bacteria live in the soil. Others live in the roots of certain plants. Plants take the nitrogen compounds from the soil through their roots. They use nitrogen compounds to make proteins. Animals eat the plants and use the plants' proteins to make new proteins. These animals may be then eaten by other animals. In this way, the usable nitrogen flows through the food web. Decomposers break down the wastes of organisms and dead bodies that contain nitrogen compounds. The decomposers return nitrogen into the soil. Nitrogen compounds can also be changed back into nitrogen gas. Some kinds of bacteria that live in the soil do this nitrogen gas into the air. Later, it may be changed into nitrogen compounds that organisms can use.
Thank you very much, Benjamin. Okay, so we're going to focus on the nitrogen, right? Why is this so important? Because it is a substance that contains part of all proteins, right? The material cells use for growth and repair. So it is very, very important. And it says that nearly 80% of the air that we breathe every day is nitrogen gas. Okay. There is also important to mention that not all organisms can use this form of nitrogen, right? So because they need some other nitrogen compounds, and they need to find a different way to get the nitrogen they need. Okay. And bacteria, for example, they change nitrogen gas into nitrogen compounds. And it says that some of these bacteria live in the soil, others live in the roots of certain plants. And when the plants take in the nitrogen compounds from the soil through their roots, they use the nitrogen compounds to make proteins. Why? Because the plants cannot take it directly from the air. So they take it through the roots. And animals also, when they eat the plants, they use the plants' proteins to make new proteins. These animals may then may be eaten by other animals as well. And this way, the nitrogen is moving from one organism to another one, okay? From the bacteria to the plant, and now from the plant to some animals, and so on. So in this case, the nitrogen is flowing through the food web, okay? And decomposers also take a very important role in this cycle because they break down the wastes of the organisms, okay? And these wastes and dead bodies contain nitrogen compounds as well. And what happens? Well, the decomposers return the nitrogen compounds to the soil, right? So now the bacteria can use the compounds of the nitrogen again, and then it all goes like round and round over and over again. Then the nitrogen gas goes into the air. Later it may be changed again into nitrogen compounds that organisms can use. So it's a whole, as I explained, the carbon dioxide and oxygen cycle, that it goes over and over again. That's actually why it's called a cycle, because it goes round and round and round, right? It moves from one organism to another one, but it can never be destroyed, okay? All right. Here we have an example again, like the one that I showed before, but this is for the nitrogen. So we have, it says, we have nitrogen compounds and nitrogen gas. Lining can cause nitrogen gas in the air to combine there with other substances to form nitrogen compounds. And then it says, well, you can see the lining over there. Plants use nitrogen compounds from the soil to make proteins. Some bacteria in soil and in the roots of some plants change nitrogen gas into nitrogen compounds. And then it says usable nitrogen flows through the food web when animals eat plants or other animals. So it's going, like I said, it's going over and over again. from the gas that the lining produce to the soil, then the bacteria change. Yes, Ashley? The bacteria changes the gas into compounds, then the plants uses these compounds, and then the animals eat the plants and use the compounds as well, and so on, right? So it's moving from one organism to the other one. And finally, we have the water cycle, which is something that you may be familiar with already, because it's something that we study like every year since we are like in first grade, not to say in preschool. So we have the different parts of the water cycle. We have evaporation at first place, then condensation, then we have precipitation and evaporation again. So it's basically the same thing, right? The sun hits the water, like this water stream over here. The sun, because when it's very hot, like on these days, it's very hot. What happens is the water evaporates. So that means it changes from liquid to gas, and it goes all the way up to form the clouds. And then a process called condensation will occur, right? Which is this over here. When you see clouds and the sky, that is water, okay? And this process is called condensation. It's not water in gas status anymore. So I will say it's liquid water already. And then the next process is precipitation, which means that the water will falls down as rain, and it'll come back to earth or to the ground, to the soil, to the rivers, to the ocean, to all bodies of water, and it'll goes over and over again. Evaporation, yes. Evaporation will occur, then condensation will occur, then precipitation. So the water is moving through its cycle from the ground to the clouds and so on, okay? And that's why it's called a cycle. It says all organisms produce water when they use oxygen to release energy from food. Animals drink water and return into the ecosystem through their wastes. Then roots of plants take in water from the soil. Plants use some water in photosynthesis. Some evaporates from their leaves. When organisms die, the water in their bodies is recycled in the ecosystem. And we're not going to read this because I already explained. Well, it says water cycles through the living and non-living parts of an ecosystem. No new water is needed. Some of the water you drink might have flowed down the Nile River when the pyramids were being built. Notice in the picture that water on the ground evaporates, condenses into clouds, and falls to the ground as precipitation. Study the picture to learn how living things are part of the water cycle. All right, so lesson 4 review. We're gonna go ahead and work on this lesson 4 review. And number 1, I'm gonna put you in breakout rooms to work separately in the 4 different questions, okay? So group number 1 is gonna work on the first one. Explain how plants and animals use carbon dioxide and oxygen in different ways. All right, so then group number 2 is going to answer this one. Water to waste nitrogen from the air is changed into usable nitrogen. And group number 3, how does water cycle through the non-living parts of the ecosystem? Group number 4, identify the main idea. What's the main idea of the first paragraph on page A109? Yes, miss.
You are going to do the group right now.
Yes, I am going to put you in breakout rooms right now. We have how many participants? 15, so well. All right, so let me go ahead and do that right now. Try to work as fast as you can. You will only have 5 minutes to go ahead and answer that question. Then you will type that in the chat when I ask you to do so, okay? Let me pass record. Okay, so very quickly, okay, I'm going to check. And it says when a squirrel monkey Respire. Okay, we call that breathe, not respire. Or we can also say when a squirrel monkey carries out respiration, change oxygen to carbon dioxide. Very good. Okay, I'm waiting for the answers of the rest of the group. Benjamin, you can share your answer in the chat as well.